You don't, you don't, you don't see me at all. That's gonna be my intro music one day when I can afford to pay for the pay for the rights. Anyway, yo, NBC ratings are like Biden's approval numbers. They barely hanging on and they're blaming everybody else. But thank God Trumpito blessed Christian Welker with the interview so the NPC can stop from going in bankruptcy. Keep the lights on. For real. But off top, Trumpito told her, look, you speak the truth in the prior. You think you speak the truth in the prior, but that's only after the writers of prior send you over your script. He was like, "Yo," and MSNBC think that Rachel Maddow's is spitting breaking news, but really she just reading DNC emails out loud like it's the gospel. He was roasting her for real, and you already know he had just beat up the ABC News anchor Terry Moore on camera in the Oval Office. But I guess NBC News thought that the big guy would go easy on White House correspondent Krestin Welker. But as you know, Christian has like a history of saying the right stuff to get right up under our chief executive officer's skin for real. So without failure, she popped it off. She got just under his skin, just deep enough that he was forced to have to defend himself. And everybody knows if you pinch Trumpito, he gonna knock your ass out. Yo, my name is Marcus Russell. This is the Marcus Russell Show. Yo, let's get right to the video.
But I want to start on the economy, sir, which obviously the biggest issue for voters. We got new numbers today, better than expected job numbers.
Much better.
At the same time, the economy shrank in the first quarter. You've been arguing all week that this is President Biden's economy. Is this now your economy, sir?
Well, I think certain aspects of it are. Costs are. I was able to get down the costs, but even that, it takes a while to get them down, but we got them down
Can't
good.
do it overnight.
We lost $5 to $6 billion a day with Biden. 5 to 6 billion. And I've got that down to a great number right now in a record time. You know, we're talking about 100 days. But just think of what that is. $5 billion a day we're losing on trade. And we were very tough with China, as you know. We put 145% tariff on. Nobody's ever heard of such a thing. And we've essentially cut off trade relationships by putting that much of a tariff on. And that's okay. We've gone cold turkey. That means that we're not losing. You know, we lost $1 trillion to China. $1 trillion. That means we're not losing $1 trillion when we go cold turkey because we're not doing business with them right now. And they want to make a deal. They want to make a deal very badly. We'll see how that all turns out, but it's got to be a fair deal. But think of it. We were losing $1 trillion. And that was a big part of the $5 million a day.
And I want to talk about China, but just staying on this idea of the economy. On the eve of your inauguration, the stock market spiked. You called it the Trump effect.
It spiked because I was elected president. Well, it spiked because of anybody else. It spiked because they see what I'm going to do. They know what I'm going to do with the tariffs and everything else. And I think it's actually working out better than we anticipated. Did you see oil prices? Did you see gasoline is now below, in many cases, in many states, below $2 a gallon, 198, 199, 197?
Well, my question, sir, is when the stock market spiked, you said this is the Trump effect. When the numbers weren't so good earlier this week, you said it's the Biden effect. Are you only taking ownership of the good numbers and not the bad numbers?
Well, I think he did a lot of very bad things, and despite some of the bad things, we're overcoming them. But he was bad on the border. He was bad on the economy. We had the worst inflation in the history of our country. Look, Biden gave us the worst inflation in the history of our country. People, it didn't matter what they made because they were losing their shirt because of costs. Now take a look at what happened. Oil is down, gasoline is down, groceries are down, eggs. You were the one that asked me. You asked me about eggs. It was the first week.
You wanted the eggs.
I didn't even know anything about what were you talking about. Egg prices were so high you couldn't buy eggs. They didn't have any eggs. And they said Easter is going to be a disaster. Well, we had Easter at the White House, and we had thousands of eggs, and they were down 87%.
Yeah, a lot of that, of course, spike was because of bird flu. But when does it become the Trump economy?
Oh, why do you say that?
Well, tell me,
we had the same bird flu as he had.
When does it become the Trump economy?
It partially is right now. And I really
You
mean this. I
stupid.
think the good parts are the Trump economy and the bad parts are the Biden economy because
Simple
he's
as
done a
that.
terrible job. He did a terrible job on everything. From his auto pen,
Facts.
which I'm sure he knew nothing about some of the things he was
He
supposedly
wasn't even,
signing,
he didn't know he was doing
to
it.
immigration. You look at what happened with immigration, how bad it was.
Millions
Think of
and
it. We have
millions.
murderers, 11,888 murderers. Many of them murdered more than one person. Think of that. And they're in our country. Now,
Wow.
we've gotten a lot of them out, and we know who many of them are, and we're on the hunt. But why would anybody do that? Why would anybody, who could do such a thing where they'd allow hundreds of thousands and even millions of people into our country who are criminals and murderers at the highest level? Who
Biden
would do
could.
But,
this?
sir, you acknowledge
Biden.
when you announced your tariffs, for example, the stock market dropped. It's been volatile. It has
Well,
since gone up.
it is,
Do
but
you
now
take
it's going up.
responsibility
Look at
for that?
today.
Yeah. Do you take
Well, look, I take
responsibility when it
responsibility.
dropped?
Ultimately, I take responsibility for everything, but I've only just been here for a little more than 3 months.
Days.
But the stock market, look at what's happened in the last short period of time.
Three
Didn't
weeks.
it have
It's
9 or 10
banging.
days in a row or 11 days where it's gone up? And the tariffs have just started kicking in. And we're doing really well psychologically. I mean, the fake news was giving me such press on the tariffs. The tariffs are going to make us rich. We're going to be a very rich country.
So
Yo, Trump's explanation that Biden was the cause of all the bad stuff that was shrinking America's economy and the tariffs are mean to bring business back that makes perfect sense to me. I don't understand why Krestin Walker cannot understand this. Yo, but she pissed him off when she was like, statistically, nothing that except for the last 4 weeks, the economy was shrinking. Except for the last 4 weeks straight, the economy has been shrinking. But like he said, at first I was working on driving the prices down. Y'all was talking about you want them eggs. I got them eggs low. Now I'm bringing the economy back up. You stupid beezy. It's not like the orange guy doesn't have the receipts. He's got all the receipts. He's kicking ass. You can't argue with it. Then after that, even Trumpito, when he levitated into the ceiling of the Oval Office then floated around in circles, spent around, had magic light flying out him. When he landed, Christian Walker was like, "Oh, so I'm supposed to be impressed with this?" I'm telling you, NBC pays her good to be a Trump hater. But I bet you, when she got home, after she got in bed, she wrote in her diary, "Today I witnessed the president levitate up to the ceiling of the Oval Office. I pretended that I felt nothing, but inside I knew he had been touched by the hands of God." Yo, tell me what you think in the comments. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Until next time, peace.